Mic check, mic check, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Man, listen, I'm not real sure if this is motherfucking working the way I want it to work. You know what I mean? But like, yo, let me know if y'all can hear me out here in the motherfucking chat and shit. Add moderator. Let me give you a wrench, Andrew. Motor Magilo. Yo, digging the name. It's pimping. You know what I'm saying? But legit, so I found a video today that I wanted to respond to and shit, right? Like legit, I wanted to stand here and motherfucking, have an opportunity to sit here and, fucking, like, yo, can y'all hear me out there in chat land? Let me know what's up. Can y'all hear me out there, man? I hear it. You're good. You're good. We're fucking pumping. All right. That's good. That's good. All right. So anyway, I wanted to stand here and respond to this video that I found today on YouTube. And because like, yo, there's, there's some bananas nonsense in here. Legit. Fucking like, yo, I found an Antifa joint, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to break it down and have a conversation about it because I'll be honest with you, there's just so much goddamn nonsense in this video that like it just needs responded to when it really comes down to it. That's really what this is. So it's about 17 minutes long. I figure, take up like the better part of an hour, hour and a half, whatever. And, like we can sit here and have this conversation. So without further ado, I forget who this is from, man. It's from somebody. I don't know, Rotefin or some nonsense like that. Let's check this out and see what's popping.
Since YouTube has an awful content flagging system and doesn't differentiate between videos speaking critically of things and those advocating for them, the rest of the series will be exclusive to a new platform called Rockfin. You can get access to that series and lots of other great radical content by following the link below. Let's do a little word association. I'm going to give you 3 words, and you decide whether each word has a generally good connotation or a bad one. Ready? Patriotism. Good. Fascism. Bad. Nationalism. Somewhere in the middle? This one depends on your perspective, but I'd guess about 60 or 70% of you would say nationalism has a bad connotation. While each of these 3 isms is animated by pride in one's country, they exist on a spectrum of increasing animosity towards others. Enough pride in your own country could very easily lead you to be frustrated with the perspectives of other countries, and without even being aware of it, you've slipped from patriotism into nationalism.
Okay, so let's talk about this, you know what I'm saying? Because this is where the whole video legit just starts going off the goddamn rails. All right, so if you have a country, legitimately, you know what I'm saying, who y'all have to deal with on a regular basis, all right, and that country, create suicide bombers like Saudi Arabia, right? Because what they do is they export, you know what I'm saying, their young men who are of military age because they don't want to actually like arm them in the military. They export them to go create havoc on other nations, right? Because there's not a lot of opportunities for them in Saudi Arabia. Us standing here going, well, that's probably a bad thing and we shouldn't be doing that. Legitimately, it's not a terrible thing. That's not fascism, all right? Now, fascism is when you try to stand here and actually control, you know what I mean, other individuals through force inside of your country. And actually sit here, because it's like, fascism has like so many different meanings. Because like Italian fascism was, a mix of government and corporations, right? That was, Italian fascism. And fascism by force is forcing individuals to live in a certain manner. Now, in all societies, this is done. It doesn't matter like what society you're in. Like you can be in England, you could be in China, you could be, in Vietnam, you could be in Australia, you could be in America, you could be in Mexico, you could be in, Canada. All societies have a basic standard as to which you're supposed to live. And you can say that's fascistic in its nature. And it's all about whether or not that matches up with the culture of your country. And the issue that we're having today is the fact that we have zero culture in our country. And so everything is kind of looking like fascism because we really don't have any perspective as to what we're supposed to be doing. But let's keep going.
Frustration with other countries often leads to bitterness, distrust, and eventually to hatred, while your loyalty to your homeland only increases. That fierce loyalty to your own country and the animosity towards others is often enough to bring about the rise of fascism, the desire to bring the rest of the world under the rule of the one truly good nation. In this
Well, no, that's imperialism. You know what I'm saying? That's imperialism. That's not fascism, right? Like legit. You know what I mean? That's when you're building an empire and you want the rest of the world to do as you say, right? So like that's legitimately when you start building an empire. That's not fascism. I mean, like it can be fascism if, I mean, like you go and like, you know, conquer another nation and make them live by your rules and pay taxes and support you. Legit. But that is not, you know what I'm saying, fascism in any way, shape, or form. Like that's just not how this operates. You know what I mean? I just wanted to put that out there.
This episode, we're going to discuss how patriotism is the gateway drug to nationalism, and under some circumstances, fascism. Before we begin, let's take a second to define these three terms so we're all on the same page. We'll start with patriotism. Patriotism is a love for and devotion to one's country. Nationalism expands on that, adding, especially, a sense of national consciousness exalting one nation above all others and placing primary emphasis on promotion of its culture and interests as opposed to those of other nations. The distance between nationalism and fascism is much larger. Fascism is defined as a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. When placed on a spectrum.
All right, so at what point did any of that say you were exporting your values to another country? Like legit. And I'm like, yo, this dude's basic ideology of fascism, like, kind of matches up with mine if you go by that definition. You know what I mean? Like, flat out, you know, it's whether or not your culture, because, like, again, like, yo, it's all about, like, where does it stand, right? Like, yo, we all say that, you know, murder is wrong. So, therefore, you know, if you murder somebody, we will send somebody with a gun to go get you, right? That just happened in Lancaster the other day. And, like, a dude tried to chase a dude down with a machete. Like, there was a guy, he stabbed 4 people. Right, he was a Spanish dude, right, and he was out on bail for $100 million. He was on $1 million bond, right, waiting trial, and legit, they were called for a domestic disturbance where he was threatening his mother and sister in the house. The cop comes up, and the dude answers the door with a fucking butcher's knife and starts chasing the cop down the road, and the cop shoots him. Now, where I come from, that's what's known as suicide by cop. But what Brie Lem's concerned, you know what I'm saying, that's considered fascism. I feel like they don't really know what fascism is. You know what I mean? Just putting that out there. And, you know what I mean, Alex, you know what I mean, I hope you're happy. You know what I mean, I made the video big enough for you. All right?
It's easy to see how someone could go from being a patriot to a nationalist without ever noticing the transition. It seems like it would be much more difficult to reach the stage where you're comfortable calling for authoritarian measures and decrying the inhumanity of different groups. But it's more common and far more insidious than you might think. Now, before we go any further, let me say that this video is not only about conservatives. Yes, fascism is a right-wing ideology, despite what some misguided conservatives would have you believe. But it's also about maintaining dominance over.
Well, I wanted to make an argument about that because, like, there's a lot of left-wing fascism that goes on, legit. Right? Anytime you see individuals getting locked up over feminism or, you know, I mean, the promotion of, you know, I mean, like, you know, you stand in here going, oh man, you know, like da 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 da, we don't, you know, we have fucking, we don't have enough people doing this or that or whatever the case is, right? And I mean, there's a lot of left-wing shit that goes to, you know what I'm saying? Because any law that you make is enforced by the fucking barrel of a gun, because the government's only tool is the monopoly on force. You know what I mean? So any left-wing law that gets passed, you know what I mean, any progressive law that says, hey, look, you can't collect rainwater. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? You can't clear brush from inside of the forest. Hey, look, you can't do this. You know what I mean? These are all left-wing policies, you know what I mean, which are enforced in a fascistic manner. You know what I mean? Depending on where you live, you know what I'm saying? Like, collecting rainwater might be, you know what I mean, terrible for, like, one community, but for another, like, that's how you get your drinking water, like, say, for instance, on a Indian reservation. Right, you know what I mean? Like, yo, that's fascistic because, like, yo, you're literally robbing them of the ability to have drinking water. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, it's not really all equal and the same, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to it. But there are left-wing fascists, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of left-wing fascism that goes on in the government, if you want to put it on that manner, to where you're using force to change an individual's, you know what I mean, behavior.
People who are deemed inferior, and no one is better at feeling superior than the United States. Our foreign policy is fascist whether a Democrat is in the White House or a Republican. It's only when those authoritarian tendencies are brought home that the average American begins to notice. This video is also not about the YouTube and 4chan radicalization pipeline. There have been plenty of videos on the subject, and I highly recommend this one by Innuendo Studios if you're interested. I'll mention YouTube eventually because it's something I'm very familiar with, but I want to focus on the radicalization of a group that's largely ignored, our parents' generation. The people born in the 60s and 70s who don't use the internet as much as we do, and are therefore paradoxically more isolated from and more vulnerable to far-right propaganda. The generally decent people who consume daytime TV and radio talk shows, but who probably have no idea who Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson are. As one final disclaimer before we begin, I want to address the conservative talking point that's bound to come up in the comments. The claim that leftists are actually the fascists. First of all, the people making these claims lump everyone from centrist to communist into the same category.
Well, because a lot of centrists and communists are motherfucking left wing. When you really want to come down to it. The vast majority of policies that are passed that are, cool with centrists, like Social Security, Medicare, welfare, all these type of things are left wing, fucking programs and shit. They're programs that, you place the community above the individual and tax the community, to be able to provide for the individual, So therefore, yes, these are left wing people, communist, fucking centrist and fucking, basic, everyday run-of-the-mill bullshit liberals, who don't understand economics are all left-wing when it really comes down to it. So you can lump them all into the same goddamn box, because when you're fighting against a fucking policy that is stood by all those individuals at the same time, legit, fucking, oh wait, Samuel, you ain't got no fucking wrench, man? Let me give you a wrench, my brother. Hold up, there you go. This is a wrench, no state. Everybody has the right to say whatever the fuck they want out this bitch. Because I actually do believe in real fucking freedom. I don't care if my fucking stream gets blocked because y'all curse and y'all say terrible shit in my chat. Because I want y'all motherfuckers to be able to have the freedom to argue and say your points, and legit get your shit the fuck out, because, nobody else is going to listen to you, but Tom Pease will, that is what it is at the moment. So, with that being said, real shit, AP, what up, my brother? How the fuck you doing? Right? With that being said and shit, I wanted to stand here and say, fucking, this dude here, legit, he doesn't really understand any of this fucking shit. He doesn't understand economics. He doesn't understand any of it. So, but we're going to keep going.
Centrists and liberals are not the left. They have a lot more in common with conservatives than either group would care to admit. The claim that the left is fascist hinges upon the fact that there are some problems that are universally accepted, and that includes by both far-right extremists and socialists like me. Just about everybody, regardless of political opinions, can agree that the economy is in trouble and that the average Americans are being left behind by the increasingly wealthy elite. But acknowledgement of a problem...
Well, yeah, this is what happens when you print money. Right? Legit. AP, what up, my nigga? Right? Fucking, this is what happens when you print fucking money out of thin air. Right? When you print money out of thin air, the people who have shit, all right, their shit is going to be costing more in fucking currency. Because currency isn't fucking money. Real talk. That's some honest to God shit that individuals really don't understand at all. All right, this is really the problem, is the fact that we're printing fucking money, and not just money for bailouts and all the bullshit, right? It's money to fucking pay for Social Security. It's money to pay for fucking welfare. It's money to pay for fucking defense. It's money to pay for fucking education. It's money to pay for fucking everything when it comes down to it. We're printing money like it's going out of fucking style. And legit, it's just the fact that individuals who have things like stocks, bonds, real estate, boats, whatever the case might be, all that stuff ends up being worth more money. And so then you go, oh, Amazon's a $900 billion company. No, the fuck it's not. You know what I mean? Real shit. But this is, you know what I mean? Yo, Zach, I'm unsubscribed. Why are you unsubscribed, bro? Fucking subscribe yourself again. I don't understand. Fuck, YouTube hates me. Legit. Yo, YouTube hates me. Yo. Yo, man, everybody gets a wrench. You know how this works.
Problem is very different from agreeing on solutions. To the left, the solutions would be, at the very least, strengthening unions so that American workers have more bargaining power, and taxing the ultra-wealthy at a much higher rate. To the far right, the solutions are expelling immigrants, jailing political dissidents, and getting rid of the Jews who supposedly pull the strings of the nation's banks and media operations.
All right. Look, okay? Dumb white people blame the Jews. Yo, Jack Kennedy, welcome, my brother. Here, I have a fucking wrench and shit. First time in the chat. Everybody gets a goddamn wrench. All right, anyway. All right, look, okay? None of us say that you should jail fucking political dissidents. You know what I'm saying? Number one. Number two, all right? Expelling immigrants, how do I put this? Mexicans are the only individuals. All right, I'm not even going to say that. You can't keep bringing in labor from fucking other countries when Americans don't have fucking jobs. Legit. Like that's some real shit. You can't keep bringing labor in to drive down the wages of Americans. And literally, right? Yo, fucking, man, listen. Yo, fucking, here, Terminator waifu. Welcome, my brother. Welcome. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep bringing in labor from other fucking countries and expect Americans to be okay. Yo, Zach, man, thank you, man. It's appreciated. Right? Fucking, you can't do that shit. It doesn't fucking work. Like, yo, because Americans aren't able to eat. When houses go from $160,000 a piece on average back in 1996 to today, where they're sitting at $330,000 and your wages haven't fucking grown, that's a fucking problem. Fat Andy, look, man, the Federal Reserve is not a problem. All right, it's the Central Bank of America. That's what it is, okay? It is literally the cucked husband of America's gold digging wife. You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, fucking, yo, here we go. Add moderator. There we go. Thank you for motherfucking coming through, man. Have a goddamn wrench. You know what I'm saying? It's always a wrench no state out this bitch. You know what I mean? That just is what it is. Like, legit. Yo, this is kind of the fucking deal. Like, yo, this is why the right wing wants to control immigration. Because you can't stand it. Just like, yo, if they brought a whole bunch of engineers in here and shit, you know what I mean? Real shit. Yo, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like, legit, I got decent fucking internet, so I'm doing an actual real fucking show. XL was supposed to help me out, but he's not around or whatnot. You know what I mean? He ended up, passing the fuck out. So Tom Pease is doing it on his own, and it's cool. Like, I heard a lot of motherfuckers is getting upset, you know what I'm saying, about, certain individuals, legit just turning towards fucking race and shit. You know what I mean? And I'm going to try and bring it back to economics, my brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bring it back to fucking economics and reality. You know what I mean? Because this fight can be won if we do it properly. But let's keep banging.
Only one of these sets of solutions is fascist. Fascism can be pretty insidious. If you take Nazi Germany, for example, Hitler implemented modest social reform policies that could be considered left-wing, in America at least, but those policies came with the tiny little caveat that they had to eradicate an entire culture, plus any gays and communists they could catch for good measure. Fascism will always come
Now, may I say, I'm kind of pro, like, fucking gassing the communists. You know what I mean? I agree with motherfucking Hitler. Communists aren't people. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it. But like, yo, it's neither here nor there. We're going to keep going.
Bundled with racist, xenophobic, and violent ideology. It's part of the deal. With all those preliminary matters out of the way, let's meet our average 50-something suburban voter. Her name is Karen. Karen is a stay-at-home mom, probably has a designer dog, drives a mid-sized Beamer, and hasn't had to apply for a job since 1985. She watches Fox News, listens to conservative talk radio, and has no idea that she's become a meme. When Karen was growing up, the news was something you could watch in the morning or in the evening, and there were many fewer channels to choose from. The era of 24-hour news cycles and hundreds of channels wouldn't begin until 1994. During her formative years, Karen witnessed the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, the Wall Street crash of 1987, and the end of the Cold War. She saw the US take its place as the sole world superpower, and by the 90s, things had settled into a comfortable lull for the United States. Then, in 1996, a media mogul named Rupert Murdoch hired Roger Ailes to head up his new project.
All right, man, look, you know what I'm saying? Let's put this like this, okay? There are a lot of these old people out here, but you have to remember they're dumb, okay? Old people are dumber than a bag of fucking hammers. Legit. And old people are going to be used for mass voting purposes. There's a reason, like, yo, for instance, like right now, you know why they bail out Wall Street and why they bail out the banks on a regular basis, right? The reasons why they actually bail out the banks is because there's 70 trillion in 401ks and fucking pension funds sitting in the market. And if they're not able to keep that fucking money, right, fucking being able to keep growing, then individuals are going to end up fucking trying to collect their fucking pensions and shit and collect their 401ks and pull the money out of the market to pay for, you know what I mean, like, I don't know, medications and fucking, you know, basic living expenses when they retire, which they have been since 2013. we're going to end up having, old people starve to death. And these are the individuals who fucking vote. This is a big fucking problem. Like, this is things that nobody's fucking talking about. Individuals really don't understand the actual economic states of what's going on right now. Like, real shit. And I think it's important, you know what I'm saying? Real shit, that we have this conversation and understand exactly what's going on. They're paying and they're printing money into a fucking hole to cover the 401k money that they don't actually have. And most of this shit's traded by fucking algorithms and robots on fucking Wall Street. It's not even traded by fucking people. That's why stocks like fucking Tesla, all right, have a fucking 1,100 to 1 PPE fucking ratio. All right, which means like, for every dollar they make, they have $1,100 worth of funds. I've heard people actually say Toyota, which used to be the world's largest car manufacturer by market cap, Tesla became the largest. Right, it's fucking nonsense. Legit. You know what I'm saying? Legit. It's fucking garbage. I wanted to stand, like, you have to understand exactly what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? That's real shit. And I mean, that's really where the fuck things are. And it's important that we fucking understand exactly what's going on. Everything is chasing all the yield that they can possibly fucking get. Because they have $70 trillion just chasing yield. And there's nowhere for it to fucking go. So it's causing all these bubbles and booms and all this fucking shit. And every time, like, it dumps out of some fucking shit. And every time, like, the currency ends up strengthening up a little bit, everything crashes. This is what's going on. Yeah, the left are fucking, they're legit. This COVID shit is to tank the market. But they can't take the fucking stock market because it's not tied to anything. It's not real. It's fugazi. It's like, it's not a real fucking thing. It's not tied to production anymore. It's all just giant sloshing fucking fund of fucking boomer money at the moment. Like, this is really what it is.
Fox News. This selection was very intentional. Roger Ailes had been active in both TV and politics for decades, acting as an aide and advisor for both the Nixon and George H.W. Bush administrations, coaching them on everything from what ties to wear to how to spin certain policies for the media. Ailes was a talented and devoted propagandist, and a master of media manipulation, and he had big plans for injecting the Republican Party into mainstream American thought. Years after his work constructing Fox News, a 318-page trove of documents was unearthed from the bowels of the Bush and Nixon presidential libraries. This collection, simply titled A Plan for Putting the GOP on TV News, dated back to the 1970s, and detailed Ailes' plan to build a pro-GOP news operation to be run out of and partially funded by the White House. Even back then, Ailes understood the potential for TV news. He said, "People are lazy. With television, you just sit, watch, listen. The thinking is done for you." When he was brought on for Fox News, Ailes chose not to hire experienced journalists, and instead constructed a team of inexperienced partisans he could count on to read his pro-GOP scripts.
No, like, Sean Hannity's a fucking radio show host. You know what I mean? Like, that's where most of these individuals came from. And also, he hired a whole bunch of people from other networks who are like experienced in what they do. Tucker Carlson was on CNN and MSNBC for fucking years before he ended up being on goddamn Fox. There's a really famous video of Jon Stewart fucking just straight smashing him. Hey, Miss C Gypsy, how the fuck you doing? Right, legit. Like, this is, all these individuals had experience coming in. You know what I mean? Legit. You know what I mean? They even tried to bring in, what's his name? Michael Savage. But, like, he ended up, like, getting trolled the first day, and he told somebody he hoped they catch AIDS. And they were highly upset about that. And he ended up getting banned because of the FCC. But, like, this is exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Like, but, this dude here, legit, he only talks about motherfucking, he only talks about Fox. He doesn't talk about MSNBC or CNN. You know what I mean? Which I'm going to fucking bring up myself.
Ailes himself was rabidly homophobic, racist, and completely without journalistic integrity. Together with Rupert Murdoch, he built a faux news media empire that today is the most profitable in the country, in no small part thanks to Murdoch's massive investment to pay cable providers to air their network. This was unheard of. Normally, a cable company would pay networks to license their shows. Fox News did the opposite, buying their way into 25 million homes. Ailes praised Murdoch's move, saying, "This is capitalism and one of the things that made this country great." He was right about it being a pure expression of capitalism, but I think most reasonable people would disagree that being able to dominate the airwaves simply by virtue of your extreme wealth is a good thing. This is when the right-wing propaganda machine really took off. The pro-war, anti-union, anti-regulation party now had a dedicated state media outlet. Fox News immediately set to work branding themselves and the Republican Party as the ones looking out for average Americans, railing against the coastal elites and intellectuals, dressing themselves in patriotic imagery and declaring themselves defenders of freedom in the face of creeping socialism. These weren't new talking points, but putting it on TV for 24 hours a day was a new approach.
Look. All right, first off, Fox wasn't even the first one. It was CNN who did the first one, and it all started off with fucking O.J. Simpson and the white Bronco when it really came down to it, right? And the ideology that these fucking news anchors are standing here, just screaming about, socialism and all this fucking nonsense. Like, yes, there are some of them, legit. There are some of them who do this on Fox News. But legit, they do the same. Bill Maher does the same thing on HBO. He tells progressives to shut the fuck up. We can't afford to do the things that we're talking about because Bill Maher can actually do math, right? It's just like fucking, CNN and MSNBC said don't cover fucking Bernie because he's out here selling proposals that we're not going to be able to pay for and nobody's going to be able to fucking do. And again, most of it, went against, fucking, big business and things of this nature, right? But legit, Mega Raptor, they still bitch about Fox News because the left wing is highly upset about that shit. Let's keep going though.
And it worked. The key was not only selling themselves as the good guys, but casting everyone who was not them as the bad guys. People who were out to steal your freedom and invade your suburban oasis.
They're not satisfied with spreading the chaos and violence into our communities. They want to abolish the suburbs altogether.
You notice that this here is on fucking CBS? Like, they're talking about Fox News and they're showing a fucking clip from fucking CBS. This is the goddamn problem. Legit. This is the fucking problem right here. Is that these individuals, legit, he's standing here, it says CBSN. It is not on fucking Fox News. If you're gonna bitch about a news agency, at least show clips of the news agency. For fuck's sake.
This forced rezoning would bring crime, lawlessness, and low-quality apartments into now thriving suburban neighborhoods.
Fox knew their market: nervous housewives, the uneducated, and the elderly. And that's not to say that Fox News viewers are stupid. It's an indictment on a predatory propaganda network that uses fear as a motivating tactic.
Oh no, I'll say most Americans are stupid. At minimum, uneducated and ignorant of fucking the vast majority of things that goes on. Legit. Most Americans are fucking retarded when it comes to that. It just is what it is. It's not an indictment to say that Americans don't know shit. It's because you weren't taught shit. Every day, I go through and I read something and I learn things that fucking school never goddamn taught me. Why? Because school is fucking garbage. It's not made to make you fucking smart. It's made to fucking bring everybody to the goddamn middle. Legit. And not only that, it's ran by, a fucking 95% fucking females who have never left fucking the education system to begin with. So they have no idea what it is to work in the private fucking sector. Just keep going.
Fox picked out the demographics that identified as proud Americans and set to work trying to convince these people that the others were coming to destroy everything that makes our country great. In this way, patriotism, the love and support for one's country, was twisted into a defensive position instead of a passive feeling. Democrats are trying to ban Christmas, buy our American flag blankets to show them real patriots aren't afraid, and on and on. But this doesn't explain how self-proclaimed patriots become nationalists. Sure, they're patriots.
All right, so the problem is that Democrats are constantly trying to ban things like fucking Christmas, all right? Because the left wing hates religion, all right? And a lot of it has to do with miseducation in their fucking system, right? If I told you, legit, all right, if I told you, or if I asked the chat right now, I want the chat to put in how many people were actually fucking burned in the Salem witch trials? How many people do you think actually died? Chat, do me a favor, throw some numbers in there and fucking let me know how many people you actually think it was. And then I'm going to actually tell you how many fucking people were burned or how many witches were burned in the entire Salem fucking witch trials. Like, this is one of my, this was in one of my videos here recently. Right. And I mean, I know it's not 6, it's more than 6, but like, not by much. Right. Like, yo, the entire number, all right, the whole fucking number was 20. And 5 of them were men. Legit. 5 of them were men. 20 people. And motherfuckers are terrified of fucking religion because of shit like this. What if I told you in the entirety of the fucking Spanish motherfucking, of the Spanish Inquisition, right? The entirety of this in Spanish Inquisition, legit, 4,000 people were killed. And that's over a 300 or 400 year period, right? Over a 400-year period. Every year, over 500 people are killed in Chicago. Every year. I'm pretty sure that the government has a much worse track record than any religion. Legit. And it's all because of government not having the ability to make proper economic motherfucking policy, right? I'll give you a good example. All these places where people are getting shot right now, you know, BLM is protesting. They're all deindustrialized areas. There's areas where black people moved, you know what I'm saying, up north to, you know what I mean, go and join the middle class, you know, work at these factories and stuff back in the 1890s, you know what I mean, in fucking, you know, 2000 or 1890s, 1900s, around there, right? And they worked there and did all these type of things, right? And then once these factories closed down and left, right, back in the 1970s, 1980s, instead of like replacing the income for the males that had lost their jobs, they handed the money to the women and told them that they'd get more if they threw the men out of the house. Does that seem like good economic policies? Or does that seem like something that might cause a problem with feral males in the area? Right? This is the issue when it really comes down to it. You know what I mean? That this is really what the fuck it is. And I mean, the problem is that people are miseducated about shit. Completely and utterly miseducated about shit. And they're not taught to think critically about anything. They're taught to parrot lines back and forth from other people and shit. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it, it's fucking nonsense. And anyway, we're going to keep banging on with this video.
Patriotism has become warped and reactionary, but what causes the transformation? Long story short, time and the exploitation of traumatic events. Fox News has only been around for about 24 years. A lot of people my age can remember a time when their parents seemed less scared, less xenophobic. That's not just a natural change. That comes from them living in a time before Fox News and then suddenly being bombarded with fear-mongering and right-wing propaganda 24/7 for over 2 decades. Time can do a lot to normalize things, and many older people have simply accepted Fox News as a valid alternate perspective on reality, when its explicit goal from the very beginning was to act as a propaganda outlet. But time wasn't the only culprit in turning millions of patriotic Americans into spiteful nationalists. After 9/11, Fox News ramped up its pro-American.
Okay, so let's have this conversation right now, right? Legit, old people are right. Inherently, like I've read, I've been breaking down Machiavelli on my channel for 3 years now, right? And legit, Machiavelli said in the 1500s, all right, that old people are constantly bitching about the fucking young and bitching about the world and bitching about other people and fucking individuals who are not like them. Right? Because they're no longer able to take on the world the way they were because they're old and brittle and not able to. Right? Victor, I'm not even sure who the fuck this is. It's an Antifa person. All right? I'm breaking it down. Right? This has been an ongoing thing since the beginning of mankind. Old people always bitch about the younger generations. Doug Stanhope said it. He said fucking, fucking like, he said fucking Adam Hartz, what up, man? Fucking, Doug Stanhope stood here and said, look. He said, when you were young, it was good because youth is good. You're old, your time's over, you're fucked. Now shut the fuck up. Right? And that's legit. That's what it is. When you're young, times are good because you're young, because your body, I'd give anything to have my fucking 18, 19-year-old body back. Oh my God, to be able to get hit in the mouth and like fucking, you know what I mean, just like you walk it off like it ain't shit. You know what I mean? Nowadays, like I get hit in the fucking mouth, it takes me like 2 months, my jaw's still clicking and shit. Like, yo, legit. This is the fucking problem. Youth is good. When you get old, being old sucks. It just is what it is. Like, yo, let's keep banging, man. We'll keep fucking banging on this nonsense.
America anti-foreigner rhetoric, feeding on the fear and uncertainty of this new era. Suddenly, all brown people were suspected terrorists. And of course we had to invade Iraq to bring them freedom and democracy. Even after it became common knowledge that we had started a war under false pretenses, Fox News and the new wave of conservative radio talk shows kept feeding their audience bad information, smearing the Middle East as a primitive hellhole, Europe as do-nothing socialists, and South America as full of failed states. The United States was the last bastion of truth and freedom in the world. Of course, these propagandists, including other news networks, left out some key details.
Yo, look, legit, all right? This was CNN. Look, you're literally showing Operation Iraqi Freedom live on TV on MSNBC, not Fox. All right? Yo, look, man. Everyone was behind the Iraq war. All of the media was behind the Iraq war. There was nobody in the media other than maybe a few comedians, a few libertarians who were holding fast. And, you know, like I was not behind it. I mean, I tried to go sign up because I wanted to make some fucking money. They were handing out like $38,000 for individuals and sign-on bonuses to go and like just be a fucking cook in the military at that point. But like legit, like this is not fascism. This is the military industrial complex. And it's what Trump is trying to kill. But he's having a really hard time doing it. An extremely hard time doing it. Because the Congress and the Senate are just completely full of motherfucking people who are trying to motherfucking stop him from, you know what I mean, continuing this fucking war. Or from stopping this war and bringing our boys home. They are lining their pockets. Guys like Adam Schiff and individuals like Nancy Pelosi and trying to think here. What's a guy's name? The dude who heads to fucking all these motherfuckers. It doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat. There's no fucking difference. None of them are anti-war. Joe Biden, all of them. They're pro-war. All right? And they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yo, nobody special, man. Welcome, my brother. Here, have a motherfucking wrench. Thank you for coming the fuck out. Add moderator. There you go, buddy. You know what I mean? Everybody gets a wrench. This is a wrench, no stake. I want nobody silenced in my motherfucking chat.
Like the fact that the US had destabilized the Middle East for generations, killed innocent civilians, including school children and people at a wedding, and captured and illegally tortured people in secret prisons. And that's just in the Middle East. American media will never report on the dozens of coups we've orchestrated in Latin America, overthrowing democratically elected governments and installing dictators like Pinochet. Fox may be the most obvious example, but news networks from CNN to ABC to CBS all play a critical role in maintaining the myth that America is the greatest, freest nation on earth. Since 2001, there has been a huge shift away from passive patriotism to active nationalism. But where news networks excel in putting out a polished, seemingly factual message, they lack one critical thing: the personal connection. Some talking heads get pretty close. Tucker Carlson has the "I'm just like you" act down to a science.
Tucker Carlson is probably the best fucking news anchor that we have had in this country. I'm going to say probably ever. I'll be honest with you. And I mean, like, when it really comes down to it. Because, like, Tucker Carlson will have somebody on like Jimmy Dore. You know what I mean? And let him say his piece. And not argue with him. We'll have, like, he had on Mark Blythe, for fuck's sake. And the guy's legitimately a commie. Neutral bastard, what up? You know what I'm saying? Nice to see you out here. Tucker's great. Legit. Now, he does a lot of propaganda bullshit. I'll be honest with you. He carries a lot of water for the Republicans. You know what I mean? And he's not as red-pilled as I would like him to be. But, like, legit, he's there. You know what I mean? Like, the guy, he stands for what he stands for. And I respect the fuck out of him for it. I really do. You know what I mean? He is the best news anchor on TV. He is the only balanced news anchor on TV. He literally stopped a war with Iran. Literally, he stopped a fucking war. And for that, Like, for that, nobody should talk shit about him ever again. And if they do this, go, well, other than the fact, like, he stopped the war, he should be given the Peace Prize or something, man. He should be given something. The Congressional Medal of Honor or something for that type of shit, for saving fucking troops and saving people's lives. Like, that guy, he's a great motherfucking American, as far as he's some of the best of us, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
Despite the fact that he makes $6 million a year to parrot GOP talking points. Most news networks are big productions. Lots of people, flashy graphics, very visual driven, and they can't travel with you on your commute. Talk radio hosts can. Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, Bill O'Reilly, Mark Levin, Newt Gingrich, all one-time Fox personalities who, for whatever reason, whether sexual assault or becoming too radical even for Fox News, have had to leave and start their own one-man shows on streaming radio, can.
Well, Glenn Beck, you know what I'm saying? He went off the deep end and shit. I'll be honest with you. Glenn Beck he used to be a libertarian, and his thoughts weren't real, well put together. I'll be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like, that's just kind of what the deal is. Bill O'Reilly got caught with all that sexual harassment nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, fucking, like, you can't just keep that bullshit. You know what I mean? And like, Sam L, me too, dude. Me too. I'm fucking goddamn shocked they let him say what he says. Like, I'll be real. I don't know why he's allowed to, but he does. Maybe everybody's allowed to. You know what I mean? He's the only one who does it. You know what I mean? Like, real shit.
And go wherever you go. They can talk to you in your car on the way to work, or to get groceries, or to pick up little Tinsley from ballet.
Oh, and by the way, like, Rachel Maddow legitimately has been on MSNBC for like 10 years now, 20 years or some bullshit, 15 years, something along these type of lines. Legit. And Rachel Maddow has been shooting complete and utter conspiracy theories about fucking Russia. Like, to the point where she said that, like, Russians are going to, like, cut off the gas supplies in the fucking Dakotas and the, like, fucking upper Midwest during fucking wintertime to scare the shit out of people into, like, thinking that the Russian shit's a real fucking deal. You know what I mean? Like, real shit. Like, I don't understand, like, why it is that we're talking about, like, fucking anybody on Fox News, because, like, MSNBC is 100% worse. Just putting that out there.
It's just you and them, one-on-one. No chyrons, no breaking news alerts, no boring weather updates. Just you, the host, and pure, uninterrupted ideology. When you consume content around other people, it's just entertainment or background noise. But when you're alone with the host, it becomes almost like a friendship. You feel like you know the person, like they're a trusted advisor. The more you listen, the
more you realize that they're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, because the more I hear, like, fucking, any of these ex fucking real TV news anchors on their goddamn podcast, the more I go, wow, you are a pathetic piece of fucking garbage. Like, real shit, dude. Like, I'll be honest with you, because I've listened to Glenn Beck. I've listened to Bill O'Reilly's podcast, which is fucking trash. Right, I do a better podcast than fucking Bill O'Reilly does. Like, real shit. You know what I mean? Like, I have legitimately a better podcast than goddamn fucking Bill O'Reilly. I have a better podcast than Glenn Beck does. You know what I mean? I have a better grasp of economics than fucking Glenn Beck does. Like, I don't understand why it is anybody would listen to these bags of shit. It's stupid people is fucking the real deal. Like, I'll be honest with you. It's just dumb motherfuckers.
The more their ideology melds with your own. When there are no voices of dissent or alternate opinions, you begin to accept everything they say as fact. And that is very damaging. For older people, this is the equivalent of the YouTube fascism pipeline. On YouTube, a young person will watch a video by Joe Rogan, then will get recommended one by Steven Crowder, then Ben Shapiro, and then suddenly their homepage is full of the most baseless, toxic far-right content imaginable.
How is Styx the most baseless, toxic, far-right shit you could imagine? Like, I've never heard Styx ever say anything, legit anything, you know what I'm saying, that would even resemble something that is hard right, legit. I mean, libertarian, liberal, like, I think Styx, is like way too left. Styx is a fucking centrist. Exact AP, you with me, right? Like, this is Stefan Molyneux. Yeah, he has some right wing opinions, but like, legit, like, I did a whole video. It's like an hour video or 45-minute video with him talking to a broad and me reacting to it. And I put like thunder claps in from him getting black pilled from going, you know, like, yeah, right? Like, we make Sticks look like a fucking, we make Sticks looks like a goddamn fucking, a pastor. Legit. Like, yo. Yeah, Sticks is far fucking right. You know what I'm saying? Yo.
For older people, it was watching news in the evening, then Fox News debuted and caught their attention, then the network got more radical and added extremist primetime hosts, then some of those hosts broke with the network and started their own show.
Yo, I remember, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I legitimately remember when Glenn Beck got big. Glenn Beck got big because Ron Paul and Alex Jones got big, right? That was when Glenn Beck's day was. It was like 2004, 2005. I remember that shit because, like, you know what I mean, I was kind of like remotely there with Glenn Beck, but I was really an Alex Jones, Ron Paul guy. And then like Alex Jones, and then fucking Glenn Beck, legit, with the help of the Koch brothers, took over, you know what I mean, the fucking Tea Party, which was started by Ron Paul, and took it from, you know what I mean, get your hands out of my goddamn pocket, and turned it into have the government stop letting people get gay married. That's what the fuck actually goddamn happened. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I fucking can't stand Glenn Beck. Like, fuck, I can't stand that fucking dude. Tim Pool, the no-toast fence sitter radicalized you.
Shows, and now that extreme content is available whenever they need their fix of fear and anger. This is where we start to see the metamorphosis from nationalist to fascist. Traditional media gives you the shot, fear of other countries, followed by the chaser, American exceptionalist nonsense. Talk show hosts take it one step further and make you hate the people you fear. Muslims, black people, gay people, cultural Marxists, or elites, which is often code for Jews. Antifa, immigrants. These subgroups are not only bad, they're actively working to dismantle America and steal your freedom. They'll often use tactics such as one I like to call Schrodinger's immigrant, where immigrants are simultaneously cast as both lazy welfare recipients and hyper-productive job stealers, or
Okay. Oh, well, that's because, like, yo, there's two types of illegal immigrants, right? Like, yo, you got the females and the males, right? The females and the kids suck up a shit ton of welfare and use up education resources, while the males go out, you know what I'm saying, and pick motherfucking vegetables for $3 a goddamn hour. You know what I mean? That's a real fucking thing. Like, this is economics, money, math. Yo, does anybody understand math anymore? Legit. Like, yo, and let's be honest here about the elites. All right, let's be real here about the elites and these college professors and these individuals who live in, you know what I mean, Brooklyn and San Francisco and shit, and they stand here and, you know what I mean, castigate the fucking rest of us and shit and talk about us like we're pieces of garbage, while we stand here and we're going, well, you know, dude, we're trying to survive and work and live and, you know what I mean, and have a normal motherfucking life and a normal motherfucking, you know what I mean, family, and have, like, you know what I mean, some basic ass shit. Like, all we want's our little fucking piece of motherfucking sidewalk and shit when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what the deal is. And then they stand here and they go, oh man, you know, these racist white people in the, you know what I mean, out in the Midwest. And like, nah, man, like, yo, we just want an opportunity to earn our living and be left the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to fucking have their kid go through transgender fucking training at fucking, you know what I mean, 6 years old. That's not something that needs to, you know, that we want to have fucking happen. It's called having goddamn culture. You know what I mean? It's called having respect for yourself. You know, it's fucking basic shit. If you fucking people out in the cities want to do that shit, it's your goddamn business. But don't be trying to push that on the rest of us, because that's not what freedom is. All right? That's not freedom. Kids, you know what I mean, don't get goddamn freedom. You know what I mean? When you're a child, you don't get goddamn freedom and shit. Real talk. Because you're not old enough to be responsible for it. Like, your responsibility is attached to authority and freedom. It's that fucking simple. Freedom has to be matched with authority. That's why I say females shouldn't be able to vote, because you're not responsible when motherfucking the time comes to put your life down on the motherfucking line with the rest of us when we have to go to fucking war. It's that simple. We have to register to vote in order to use credit and get, you know, mortgages and college loans and things of this nature. Right? You have to, as men, we have to fill out that fucking card. Responsibility matched with freedom. It's that fucking simple. It's that responsibility and authority go hand in fucking hand. You know what I mean? Men should have the right to vote. It's that fucking simple. Why? Because, like, yo, if you're going to go die, you should choose a leader who sends you there. That's the mentality. It's nothing more, nothing less.
Or Antifa are described as both whiny snowflakes and terrorist super soldiers. This doublespeak is present in all instances of fascism throughout history.
Well, Antifa fucking is, whiny little snowflakes who lose their fucking mind and throw fucking Molotov cocktails when they're having a fucking conniption fit. Like, that's just reality. Being able to hold like two different things in your fucking head at the same time is, how to put that? The definition of wisdom. Fucking assholes. I fucking hate this Antifa cocksucker.
You have to make your people hate the enemy for their perceived moral failings, but also fear them. But while talk shows are an integral part in the patriotism to fascism pipeline, they're still missing the final piece of the puzzle, and that's a figurehead that functions as a cult of personality. I'm going to say a couple of things that some of you might disagree with. First, every president in modern history has wielded fascist power abroad. Trump is not the first one to do it. Second, I don't think that Trump has always had fascist tendencies. He's very thin-skinned and seems to have exceptionally malleable opinions. He's been molded by his base just as he has whipped them into a nationalist frenzy. They feed on each other in a vicious, ever-worsening feedback loop, to the point where now, the same people who fly "Don't Tread on Me" flags are calling for the police to conduct mass arrests on peaceful protesters and political dissidents. They're supposedly against authoritarianism, but they're calling for the government to use authoritarian measures to achieve their xenophobic goals.
Now, this is why it is, like, legit, I wanted to stand here and go over this video. Because there's a lot of individuals who went from libertarians out here flying the motherfucking "Don't Tread on Me" flag and shit to individuals who wanted to sit here and motherfucking, to being standing here going, we should, fucking use the police to, mow these individuals down and all this nonsense. I'm not with it. I'm not with it. I will not turn fascist. I refuse to fucking do it. I will not turn fucking fascist. All right. I started the Trebu state. I started the white trash no state, all these type of things. All right. But legit, that's all about, like fucking helping our country as a whole, get better fucking pay. That's what this motherfucking shit is real with. You know what I mean? Real talk. I want to stand here, and if you want to fist fight in the motherfucking streets, you should have the right to do so. If you want to go out here and fight these boys in the street, that's up to you. If y'all want to have gunfights in the street and get it on, that's up to you. All right, I don't want to use the government to deal with other motherfuckers. And this is the problem with old people, right? This is the motherfucking issue with motherfucking old people and whatnot. Real talk. Old people legit don't want to go and deal with their problems and fucking selves. They want to stand here and have the police do it for them. This is why it is I like living in neighborhoods, and I like living in a neighborhood without police. Because if your fucking neighbors is getting out of fucking line outside, you go deal with it. If there's a problem in the neighborhood, you deal with it together. You have to be close when there's nobody there to protect you. That's an important fucking thing to have. Because you don't want your fucking neighbors to end up having, stand here and have massive amounts of problem with law enforcement and all these type of things because it makes everybody around you hot. I'd much rather be in a fucking place where I can go out front and drink a fucking beer and not worry about the fucking cops harassing me. This is the fucking point. Real shit. I'm not with it. I'm just not. Understand, fascism, the 98% of the motherfucking times, you know what I'm saying? I wish we would motherfucking have all the states have mutual combat laws, right? But 98% of the time, motherfucking fascism is just individuals being fucking lazy. That's what that is. It's people not willing to do the job their fucking selves.
They celebrate the police using excessive force, completely oblivious to the fact that what they're applauding is...
Yo, Mega Raptor, let me put it to you like this. All right, I'm gonna put it directly to you like this. The reasons why we have school shootings is because of anti-bullying laws and zero tolerance laws. All right, anytime when you stand here and you outlaw alcohol, we ended up with fucking gangsters running the street shooting, everybody, and individuals running moonshine. When you outlawed motherfucking drugs, you ended up with cartels and fucking drug lords and individuals selling that shit in the streets. When you fucking stood here, when you outlawed the ability of individual and fucking children to be able to solve their problems themselves and brought a man with a gun and a badge into the conversation, you escalated the fucking shooting. That's just like if you bring a man with a gun and a badge into a conversation about motherfucking individuals having children, you end up standing here, motherfucking causing the same thing when it comes to fucking basic childbirth and reproduction. Every black man who was shot by the fucking police this year has been in an area that's deindustrialized and has had a child support case. Everyone, including George Floyd. That's some shit that nobody wants to talk about. I'll be honest with you. Child support is more dangerous than any type of racist bullshit they can fucking come up with in their fucking heads.
Is in direct conflict with what they claim to oppose, oppressive government. When people move from loving America over all others, to hating all others because they're not America, to wanting to remove anything that doesn't comply with their warped sense of what America represents, they've moved from patriotism to nationalism all the way to fascism, and they may not have even noticed it happening. So, how do you spot a fascist? They typically hold inconsistent views about violence and government overreach. They're vocal about the groups they hate and fear. They want a white ethno-state. They support Donald Trump to the point where they applaud his suggestions.
Yo, look, man, if you want to have, you know what I'm saying, like legit, if you want to stand here and have, a fucking ethno-state, it's up to you. Like, you have the right of free association, and you should. Like, if you want to live in an all-white neighborhood, in an all-white city, in an all-white town, an all-white county, I'm with the ideology. You know what I'm saying? Legit. Yo, fucking Miss C Gypsy, I agree with you too. Child services is another one. Legit. We should be minding our own fucking business. You know what I mean? Real shit. Fucking legit. And, this mentality of standing here thinking that, you shouldn't be able to fucking sit here and, your freedom of speech gives you the right to say, fuck the Jews or fuck the Beaners or fuck Islam. You have the right to say that shit. You know what I mean? But on the same point, I have the right to go, why do you feel that way? You know what I mean? I know plenty of Islamic people, legit, who were great to me when I was a fucking kid. They were awesome. They ran all the little, grocery stores and shit, and they would sell us all cigarettes, or give us free candy and shit. They were fucking cool. There was never no weird shit. You know what I mean? I know fucking Jews who legit took me under their wing and taught me how to fucking conduct my business properly and be a proper manager of men. Because they saw I was a natural leader. Respect. You know what I'm saying? I know gay dudes legit who fucking stood here and, helped many individuals out. And, I know a gay dude who fucking would give you the shirt off his fucking back. You know what I mean? And, there's plenty of gay dudes out here who, are great fucking people. I don't hate no motherfucking body just because of what they are. Unless, you're Antifa, in which case, fuck you. As far as I'm concerned. But that's just where it is.
Suggestion of getting a third term, and they do things like this.
This is not a problem. Why is this an issue? Just because, fucking they covered up a Black Lives Matter thing, you have broads running around with period blood dripping down their fucking legs and white motherfucking pants and shit. You know what I mean? Dude, freedom of expression is freedom of expression. It goes both fucking ways. Real shit. Are you a motherfucking, are you a fucking American and believe in the American ideals? Or are you just a piece of shit who wants to cancel individuals who you disagree with? Because I'll be honest with you, that sounds kind of fascist to me. You know what I mean?
Take the mask off!
Only in America could someone be so misguided that they think dressing up as the Statue of Liberty, a beacon of welcome to all people, and wearing a Make America Great Again mask while vandalizing a call for justice and equality is what it truly means to be great. It's hard to know how far along.
Well, saying all lives matter is welcoming to all people, right? You know what I mean? It is what it is. You're saying Black Lives Matter is saying only Black Lives Matter to some people. That's how they hear it. It depends on your situation. Real talk, I don't like Black Lives Matter because it's supposed to be about black men getting shot by the police, and it's ran by a whole bunch of fucking females and white people. It's the dumbest shit ever. They don't care about black males. They only care about black males if it gets them fucking attention on fucking Facebook. You know what I mean? Yo, man, thank you, AP. It's appreciated, my brother. You know what I mean? I got a lot of love for you, my brother. I got a lot of love for you. You know what I mean?
long your loved ones are on this spectrum, and it's even harder to watch people you love turn into hateful shadows of their former selves. But a conversation could go a long way towards derailing that process. There are ways to tell if someone you care about has fallen into this pipeline. If they consume content that makes them feel attacked or marginalized by a different ethnic group, sexual orientation, or other immutable characteristics of other people, if those voices are calling for war or for the jailing of citizens for holding dissenting opinions, if those networks or personalities sell shady products like brain pills or useless powders, it's probably time to say something. There's no guarantee you can.
But Alex Jones did a shit ton of fucking good work back in the day. You know what I'm saying? When he stood there and he was going to Bohemian Grove and, exposing all types of plots and, bringing down like fucking the UN agendas and all the things of this nature. Legit, it wasn't, a fucking bad thing when it came down to it. Real shit. Let's not stand here and pretend that the dude didn't never do anything for anybody. And even that shit about, the frogs turning gay, legit, they have, a chemical called fucking atrazine that they stand here and they spray on like almost all soybean and fucking golf courses in America. That, if you get inside of the motherfucking, Kevin Dugan, what up? If you get that inside of the motherfucking water supply, legit, it causes issues in the motherfucking endocrine system of mammals, birds, fish, and frogs, which literally in frogs is turning them from male to fucking females and having males have fully formed eggs inside of them. We're not talking about the Africanized type, that they saw in Jurassic Park either. We're talking about average fucking, basic bullfrogs and shit. This is something that you should have a conversation about. And endocrine problems is something that's been affecting our fucking society for, a long while. But like real shit, we don't want to have that conversation. We just want to look at it as a fucking meme. When in reality, like, it used to be that, the left would go, wait, there's water pollution because of runoff, because of industrial motherfucking agriculture. Jonathan Doe, what up, man? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you go, man, listen, like, why are we not, fucking having a conversation about pollution? Like, why? What is your issue? Is it because like you're cool with it creating more homosexuals, or is it because of the fact that you go, oh, well, maybe all this fucking bullshit, that we're standing here, motherfucking, having a conversation about, affects the individuals around you, and you go, oh, well, maybe you're not trans because you chose it. Maybe you're trans, because of the fact that there was something in the water, and you don't want to have that fucking conversation. There's a lot of parts of this and shit. Like, it is what it is. And like, white people don't produce enough children. You're not wrong. Like, this dude's not wrong. Like, fucking. Never mind, the frogs can change sexes. Dave Lee Murphy. Yes, some of them. But not the ones that they're studying. Legit. There's a dude, he was frog specialist, fucking reptilian specialist, guy who studied fucking frogs and shit. You know what I mean? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Fucking, like, Daily Murphy, like, legit, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a dude, his name's Tyrone Hayes. Yes, he's a black dude, but again, like, black people can be scientists. Like, I have, again, like, if if you're doing good work, I don't got a problem, whatever the fuck you are. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm at.
Drag your loved ones back from this toxic whirlpool of propaganda and fear-mongering, but it's worth a shot. Every time fascism has arisen around the world, the people later reported thinking, it can't happen here. But it can happen, and it is. As I expected would happen, this video was instantly...
I don't care about your demonetization. Right, so the mentality is this, right, when it comes down to it. Like, are you willing to sit here and have a conversation and maybe address some of the problems that are being faced by individuals who you might not like at the moment? Right? Are you willing, like, this is the problem with the left, is like, they're like, oh man, we don't want to address the issues because they don't want to have that conversation if it doesn't affect motherfucking Democrat voters, if it don't affect leftist voters and shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's just some real shit. And I'd much rather address issues that affect the working class individuals of this country because I think it's fucking important. You know what I mean? Like, real shit. Like, real shit. All right, so here's the deal, right? Jack Kennedy, you said, I'm more worried about people burning the state down than climate change. Right. Climate change and pollution are both a problem, right? Like, it's a giant plastic patch in the ocean. Like, I'm right wing, right? I'm right wing, okay? Like, I'm a hunter, fisher, angler, you know, all the shit, right? Like, I like guns, I like trucks, you know what I mean? I'm fucking, you know what I mean? I don't give, like, it's where I am. I'm a right wing type of person, right? I'm a Republican voter. I mean, for the most part, I vote for libertarians when I can, but I can't stand Libertarian Party at this point, right? You know what I mean? Fucking, so, like, you know, but I don't want plastic in my fucking fish. You know what I mean? I don't want, you know, like, I don't want pollutants in my fucking water. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the fucking deal. Like, yeah, like, I feel you. Like, you're more worried about people burning the state down to climate change. I'm concerned with a lot of shit. I'm concerned with all of it because, like, it's all a goddamn problem. And we can't solve all the fucking problems. But legit, what you can do, though, like, real shit, what you can do is you can stand here and, you know what I mean, fucking, how do I put this? You can stand here and help individuals do better. You know what I mean? Like, yo, and like, I have tons of solutions. They're on my videos. Y'all know the deal. Make sure you motherfucking sub to the channel. And by the way, but everybody here, hit that Streamlabs button. Real shit. Hit that motherfucking Streamlabs button. Donate to the motherfucking channel because you know damn well YouTube ain't giving me no money. I was monetized for 5 days once. yo, hit the Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, help a brother out. You know what I mean? Real shit. Like, yo, fucking make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, we out here, you know, we doing, you know, I'm like, I put a lot of work in on all this shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, try to help a brother out, you know what I'm saying? Show that you motherfucking enjoy it. You know what I mean? Yo, Jonathan Doe, like, yo, dude, no, it's Lancaster City, all right? They can't get outside of the city. Legit. They get outside of the city, like, yo, the suburbs will fucking crush them. Like, it's just Lancaster City, all right? And, you know what I mean? They're not going to do anything the fuck else. You know, like, yo, this is the Appalachians. They're not going to fucking touch this. This is Pennsylvania. You know, maybe like Philly, maybe York, you know what I mean? But nobody cares about those places. You know what I mean? War is inevitable. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Machiavelli said, if you're going to go to war, you might as well make it now. Don't wait, because it just gives you fucking opponent the opportunity to build up. It is what it is. But anyway, yo, look, you know what I'm saying? I've been running for about an hour. I wanted to break down this video and shit. Got love for y'all motherfuckers. Make sure you hit that sub button. Make sure you hit the like button on the way to fuck out. Thank you, everybody, for coming to fuck out tonight. Thank you, AP, for bringing everybody to fuck over. You know what I mean? I didn't get a chance to motherfucking show this bitch out. I'll show it out in the Discords afterwards. In the meantime, y'all know the motherfucking deal. You know what I mean? Yo, peace be like one.